Welcome back. Welcome back, my friends, to Conversations with Lorie, part of the Don't Let the Old Lady In movement, I'm going to call it. So today we're talking about why women stop listening to themselves. Okay, men, I know some have been watching, and I'm sorry, but this has been my focus audience. I'm happy to have you, but that's why I'm saying it. So I'm so glad you're here. Whoever you are, I'm glad you're here. Over the past few weeks, we've been talking about listening to our bodies, trusting our inner wisdom, right? And paying attention to those quiet signals, those whispers, I call them God winks, that can guide us to better health and a more meaningful life. But today, I'd like to ask a different question. You know, I like to go deep. Why do so many women stop listening to themselves in the first place? Let's take a deep breath. Let's relax those shoulders and let's get into that question. Why do we stop listening to ourselves? I hope you participate in today's conversation, whether it's with yourself, drop some in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. But before you answer that question, notice what immediately came to mind. Don't judge it, just notice it. Remember, I always talk about awareness. I don't think this happens all at once. I think it happens little by little. You know, we become daughters who want to make our parents proud. It starts way back then, actually. Then partners, trying to keep a relationship together. Then we become mothers, putting everyone else's needs ahead of our own. Caregivers, employers, volunteers, friends. Somewhere along the way, many of us became so good at taking care of everyone else that we slowly lost the habit of checking in with ourselves. Check in with yourself. So can I ask you something? This is a conversation, right? When was the last time someone asked you how you were doing and you answered honestly? Let me know. I've experienced that for sure. There have been seasons in my life when I was so busy doing what needed to be done that I forgot to ask one simple question of myself. How am I doing? As a nurse, I cared for countless people. I gave everything to everyone else. As a health and wellness coach, I've seen the same pattern. Not because women are weak, because women are wonderfully, you men are too, but this is my audience. Women are wonderfully generous, but generosity without self-care eventually becomes depletion. If that's resonating with you, just whisper, yeah, I'm depleted. Drop me a comment. Sometimes acknowledging the truth is where the healing really begins. So one of the turning points in my own life came during my 30s. I was working in corporate healthcare, corporate drug company. I had a young child. I had a new house. I had experienced 2 back-to-back miscarriages, and I was carrying more stress than I realized. Anybody out there sometimes carry more stress than you realize until my body started to say something? And it wasn't just whispering anymore. It was exhausted. And one day I wandered into a bookstore saying, I got to do something with myself. And I found this book. It fell off the shelf. Another God wink. It was called The Relaxation Response. It felt almost as if that book found me. And that book taught me how to meditate. At first, I simply wanted a way to reduce my stress. I had no idea it would become, or I should say meditation would become one of the most important practices of my life. Meditation didn't just help me relax. It helped me hear myself again. It created space, and in that space, I began asking better questions. Not what does everyone else need from me, but what do I need to become the healthiest, most peaceful version of myself? Let me tell you, this didn't happen overnight. This was years. It took years. What would be your answer about that today? You don't have to, that question really changed everything. And here's something else I learned over the years. The world is good at telling women who they should be. Be productive, be agreeable, be available, be everything to everyone. But your inner wisdom has a quieter voice. It doesn't shout, it whispers. That's why creating moments of stillness matters so much. Whether it's a prayer, meditation, deep breathing, a walk, journaling, or simply sitting quietly with your morning coffee. Stillness really gives your own voice a chance to be heard again, ladies and gents. Here's today's tiny challenge for you. Take 5 quiet minutes today. No phone, no television, no scrolling. Just notice what your mind and body are trying to tell you. As a board-certified health and wellness coach, one of the most important things I learned is that people are creative, resourceful, and whole. And you have all the answers in you. I don't believe my job is to give people all the answers. God knows we're bombarded with so much information out there. I believe my role is to ask thoughtful questions that help discover your own answers. Because when we speak our own truth, ladies, we're much more likely to live it. Once we speak it, we live it. So if you want to really speak it now, let me know in the comments what you want. Maybe that's why I believe so deeply that the answers are in the questions. Not because questions magically solve our problems, but because they help us reconnect with ourselves. So if you spent years taking care of everyone else, if you've forgotten what brings you joy, if you've stopped trusting your own voice, please know this: you haven't lost yourself. You've simply become disconnected from yourself. And that person is waiting patiently for you to return. And now is your time, ladies. And maybe today is the beginning of coming home to yourself. And the beautiful thing about reconnecting is that it doesn't require dramatic life change. It becomes one moment. It just starts with one moment, ladies. One honest question, one small step, one commitment to yourself. Before we finish our conversation today, I'd like to leave you with Lorie's question of the week. I've always believed, like I said, the answers are in the questions. So here it is. When did you begin believing everyone else's voice mattered more than your own? Maybe some of you have not reached that or don't believe that. But for those that do, when? When did that start? Just ponder that. That's it. Just simply notice what comes up. And I'd love to hear from you. If you're watching on YouTube, leave me a comment. And what part of today's conversation spoke to you the most? Or what's one small step you're going to take to start listening to yourself again this week? I read every comment, and I truly love hearing your stories, ladies, so please share. And know that my initial YouTube and podcasts have been very focused on this inner you, and we're going to move up to some other topics starting next week. But remember, the answers are in the questions. Listen to your body. Trust your inner wisdom. Listen. Stay curious. And remember, it's never too late to become the woman you're meant to be. Until our next conversation, be well. And I look forward to seeing you and sharing a cup of tea with you next time.